Here we are on beautiful Jones Street.
You saw Ted Jones.
Dude, so he bought an apartment based on a floor plan, and they told him that there was going to be a restaurant downstairs.
You didn't know it was McDonald's.
Yeah, no, they were like, oh yeah, there's going to be a restaurant downstairs, and then they just threw in a McDonald's.
That's hilarious.
That's what you get for buying off a floor plan.
Like right on the corner there.
Nice, right by New York.
What's that?
Right by New York Comedy Club.
Yeah, around the corner.
All right, dude, pop on in here.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll get started.
Cool.
Mike Bramante. Yeah, dude, we'll just get right into it.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So don't pull this up.
So,
this will go back and forth.
all right.
If you want to scooch over a little bit, get a little comfy like this.
Yeah. We're good. This is up.
Up and
That's
running.
good.
Dude, I didn't know you were a vegan.
Yeah, I know. I was going to bring up the same thing.
That's insane.
Yeah.
You were like one of the handful of vegans we brought on the podcast, and I didn't even know bringing you through the podcast, man. But how's everything going? Good?
It's good, man. Yeah, it's good. Thanks for having me.
Of course, bro.
How long you been vegan for?
About like 5.5 years now.
Okay, I'm like 7, so not the I got you beat a little bit, but that's great.
What made you go vegan?
I had a buddy who worked at Peace Food. I don't know if you've ever been to Peace Food in New York. Vegan place. There's one Upper West Side.
Okay, maybe I have.
But he kind of introduced me to it. He's a buddy from home. And then girl I was dating at the time, we both kind of like were interested in it, and we did it together. Watched a couple documentaries.
Yeah, that's usually the Kickstarter.
The docs really got me. And then I did some YouTube research, and I saw some things I couldn't unsee. And it's not appetizing.
Well, 7 years ago, I think was probably the beginning of when it started to become more easy for people, especially in New York City, to go vegan, where there were more options.
Yeah.
Do you cook a lot?
I don't cook a lot because it's just me. It's just one. So, but I have a few things I can make. Yeah. But just one. We're running around a lot. I just pick stuff up.
And also I'm really not a foodie at all.
Yeah.
So anything that's vegan I'll eat, but I mostly just eat the rice and beans and avocado, chickpeas, nuts. I'm really not picky at all.
What influenced you?
I had invasive jaw surgery.
Wow.
So for like 3 months, I really couldn't chew on anything. Yeah. So I started to slowly eat the oatmeal, mushy foods, fruits. And then from that point, I was just like, all right, I want to be healthier. Because I lost a lot of weight anyway. So it was like, when you get sick and you lose a lot of weight and you're just like, all right, well, I guess maybe now is the start of my health kick. Yeah. That's kind of where I was at.
Yeah, because I cut out dairy first. Okay. And because it didn't sit well with me. And then I guess the biggest thing though is I never felt bad after eating.
Yeah, dude.
Meal.
You never have to be rolled home.
Yeah,
is kind of how I describe it.
After eating a cheeseburger or pizza, and I grew up Italian family, half Italian, but eating pizzas and pastas. And it was great, but I'd feel sick to my stomach after.
Where did you grow up?
Upstate New York.
Where upstate?
Endicott, New York, which is near Binghamton.
Oh, dude, my grandpa's wife's granddaughter went to Endicott College.
Okay.
She played college there.
It's not the same It's not the same place where the college is. Yes, it's different. It's kind of near. Do you know where Binghamton is? Binghamton University?
Yeah.
It's 10 minutes from there.
Okay, and my grandpa lived in Syracuse for 30 years. My sister went to Syracuse, so I spent a lot of time
my sister
DeWitt.
My sister went to Syracuse as well.
Endicott, New York. Was that a pretty quiet town?
Pretty quiet. Small town America. Okay. Great place to grow up. Suburbs.
On a farm?
Not on a farm, but there is farmland around, But it was just small town suburb life, simple life. Everyone kept their doors unlocked. Me and my buddies, still to this day, best friends, growing up down the street. Just would watch the basketball, court together.
Was there a lot to do up there, or not really?
It was more, I guess, high school. It was it's a sports oriented town, I guess, or maybe that was my experience where playing little league and then playing high school sports and stuff. But there's not there's good food. There's a lot of mom and pop Italian places, so there's a lot of Italian influence. There's speedy. You ever have a chicken speedy?
No, what's that?
That's it's a cut up marinated chicken in a certain type of sauce. But they have the Speedy Fest. These are the few things that would.
Is it called speedy because you could cook it quickly?
It's spelled differently, but that's a good question. I don't know. It's like Spiedie. I don't know. But I haven't eaten chicken speedies in a long time. But these are like the few things it's known for.
You must be one of the only vegans from your town, though, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Just because the options anywhere outside of a major city, it's very difficult to find vegan foods.
Yeah, totally. Now when I go back home, like I'll have to like go to Wegmans and get a bunch of stuff and stuff like that. There are actually a few places that have popped up since in the past couple of years. You want any of the vegan apps where you can find food? Happy Cow.
Oh, that's an app?
That's an app. Happy Cow and Vanilla Bean. You find vegan options in the city, or like wherever you're at.
Right, because for the most part, I mean, I'm not picky about a place. Doesn't need to be exclusively vegan. I'll go and I'll go to a Mexican place and I'll get just the rice and beans and without the chicken. I'll replace it with tofu. If it's got
an option, but like this will show you like what if this place has options. But most places do. But like
and I think it's getting easier for us. And then people in general seem to be eating less meat, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
But then, dude, sometimes when I eat these replacement meats, I don't feel that great.
I don't love the replacement meats either.
I'll still eat it. I'll still have a Beyond Burger, Impossible Burger, but sometimes I just feel super salty the next day.
Totally.
And then French fries are my favorite food, and French fries are really not that good for you. Or so they.
No, but you gotta have some sort of indulgence, though.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
that's true.
I eat a lot of vegan desserts. I'm like way more into desserts post being vegan,
like ice cream, cake,
like ice cream or cookies.
Okay,
but I need a little something. I need a little vice. You know?
Yeah, no, you definitely do. Do you drink or smoke or anything?
Don't smoke. Drink very rarely.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like like every now and then. But like it's the hangovers are just like I can't do it.
Yeah, and it's funny because being a stand-up comedian and being around it all the time, it really does feel like a lot of people in our industry either will have a drink or two per show, or people don't really drink at all. You don't see people get hammered anymore.
You see, honestly, it's almost like the opposite. Like back in the day, I think it was like drinking and drugs.
Yeah,
and now it's like everyone's sober.
Right. Yeah. I wonder why that changed. Or maybe it's. I think actually, maybe I'll answer my own question. Is because during the day and also just besides the 3 hours that we're out at a comedy club, we need to be doing things during the day to further our career. At night,
I guess you're more alert.
Making clips.
You're more with it. Like you don't want to rely on it either, right? Like where I need a drink to get on stage. Or whatever. But I think like there's a big. I mean, maybe just in general, there's just like a big culture of like staying healthier, working out.
Listen to a lot more podcasts.
Listen to more podcasts.
Like that.
Huberman,
Huberman. Dude, that's so funny you mention that because I just made a sketch where I was just talking about like the cold plunge, the sauna, I guess those are like the main things.
Do you do cold plunge?
I do, dude. I for the most part, I don't use hot water in the shower.
Yeah, so I'm a cold plunge guy.
Yeah, I want to have full access to be able to do the cold plunge sauna every day. Yeah, but sometimes it's just very difficult. And then also the gym that I go to is just very standard Blink Fitness, so it's just like in and out. Yeah. They took away the towels at Blink Fitness because people weren't even using it anymore.
You gotta have amenities.
Yeah, you need the amenities.
I splurge on the gym. I used to be part of Equinox. Okay. Now I'm part of Chelsea Piers because it's like the new one.
Dude, how is that?
It's great. It's great. The new one in like near my neighborhood.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
It's a lot better than the Equinox that's close by.
It's like right across the street.
Yeah.
My dad works in that area and he wanted to go and take a tour and work out for the day, but apparently they're only giving tours. They're not allowing you to work out.
I'll get you a guest pass.
All right,
it's good.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yeah, for sure.
But isn't that funny though that they won't allow you to work out? They'll have you tour. You can't work out after, which is interesting.
That's interesting.
But I guess a lot of people would probably indulge in that.
Yeah.
What are you saying? It's starting to what?
It's more popular now. Like when I started, like kind of like right when it opened up because you get like the early discount or whatever.
It took a while for that place to be.
But now,
open.
Now it's like very popular. It's a bit more busy. But they got individual, like they have 2 tubs. One's 50 degrees, one's 40 degrees.
Oh, let's go. Yeah. Okay, you got to hit the 40.
Like, they have like an infrared sauna, and it's like communal, so it's like you can go back and forth.
Oh, wait, is it a communal cold plunge, though?
No, well, so only one person could be in it at a time.
Okay.
But, yes, obviously, like, you can be in it for, like, up to 5 minutes, and then Sometimes there's decent.
Does it say there's a sign that says you can only use it up to
there's a
5 minutes? Oh,
sign.
okay, yeah. You don't want to be jamming them up.
No,
right?
you can't be jamming them up.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
people, they don't always abide by the rules, but
Sure.
yeah. But you don't need more than 5 minutes.
No, I'd say so too. My dad lives in Miami right now, and his building has a sauna and cold plunge.
Yeah.
And I always feel like if you go into the sauna before the cold plunge, it's got to be 10 times easier to do the cold plunge.
Yeah.
And then once you're in there,
Yeah.
you just start like melting and like fading away, and then like you open your eyes and you like see God.
Yeah.
It's one of the best things ever, dude. The
It's
sauna
great.
cold plunge combo, and people don't really know about it, and
Yeah.
they say, or people obviously know
Yeah.
about it, but people will not go out on a limb to be like, oh wow, this is better than cocaine. Okay, let's try it.
Right.
You know?
So it does give you like a high afterwards, where you're like your whole body's just you feel just reborn.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
And then I think it's just a lot easier to be hot and then go into the cold plunge
That's
than just
true.
be normal temperature. And
I
then jump in.
usually do that. I usually hit the infrared sauna first and then do that. The infrared sauna is like less. It's not it's not as hot. It's some sort of weird mechanism where you like it. It says it like heats you from the inside out.
Okay.
So it's
Is it
like
the beds or
they're
no?
not, but they have like those red lights.
Yeah.
And then it's just like not as hot as like a regular sauna. It's like I don't know. It's some sort of different way of doing it.
The thing about gyms in New York City is it does feel more so like a convenience factor.
Yeah.
Like I would love to go to a gym like this, but
Yeah.
if it's going to take me 15 to 20 minutes to get to,
Everything's got to be within a 2-block radius.
yeah, and that's such a New York thing
It's
too.
such a New
you
York
know,
thing.
like people in LA and people everywhere in the country
Yeah.
will drive 20 minutes to the gym, no problem.
Yeah.
And it's just in New York. If there's 2 or 3 gyms that I pass by on the way to that other gym, it's
Yeah.
like, well, why don't I just
No,
go
you
to
can't
Planet
do it. You
Fitness or
can't-
something
yeah, you can't
shitty
do
like
it.
that?
It's all within you only operate within your neighborhood.
Yeah.
really, for the most part. Obviously,
Yeah.
like for us, we might bounce around a little bit for comedy, but like other than that, everything's got to be like 2 or 3 blocks away.
Yeah, the coffee,
Yeah.
the gym.
Yeah, you got to have your
everything.
regular spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. When did you move to New York?
I moved to New York
New
beginning
York
of
City.
2000, New York City beginning of 2014, like January 1st.
So you've been here for a long
So-
time. Was that after you graduated college?
So I spent about 2 years in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
Where my parents now live down there, or spend most of their time down there, and then I came here.
I have a good amount of family in Oxford, North Carolina. You ever hear of Oxford, North Carolina?
I've heard of it. I don't know where it is.
It
Like,
is. I might butcher this. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll pop it up when I say this incorrectly. But
Yeah.
I think it's like either 20 minutes or 20 miles away from Raleigh, and it's
Got
just a town of like 10,000 people.
Yeah.
My grandma on my mom's side grew up there, and then she has a lot of relatives there. We probably haven't been there in at least 15 years.
Yeah,
but we
yeah.
would go down there like every 2 to 3 years to see my great grandma down there.
Nice,
And it's
yeah.
just super rural. And
Yeah,
it's
it's rural,
so
yeah.
interesting to think that I have family that are in the big city in Philadelphia, and then my other side of the family is just in the middle of nowhere.
what brought them
in
down to North Carolina?
North Carolina. I think that's just where. Well, my great grandpa had a tobacco farm down there.
yeah, there you go.
And then my grandma grew up down there, and then I'd be interested to know actually past my great grandparents what brought them down there.
Yeah.
But just growing up on a tobacco farm.
Tobacco Road. Yeah.
What is that?
They call it like, well, actually, like there's obviously a big tobacco like influence there, but like I don't know if you're a college basketball fan.
Yeah, of course. I went to UConn.
Oh, you went to UConn,
Dude,
Okay.
freshman and senior year, we won the national championship in
yeah.
men's, and the women won 100 games when I was there.
Yeah.
And I was on the tennis team, so it was nice
Okay.
to be incorporated in the sports scene.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
So
What
they
were you saying?
like they kind of call like like Tobacco Road, like Chapel Hill, Duke, like kind of like playing on Tobacco Road is just a way of saying like the 3 schools that are around there.
You went to school down in Raleigh, or
I did a grad year at Duke in this
Oh,
weird
wow.
program.
Sick.
It was called Masters of Management. Yeah, but so that's why I was there for a year, and I worked for a year. Then
but you went to college up near Endicott? or
I went to
Binghamton?
college. I went to Notre Dame.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So-
We went to Notre Dame for the Big East Championships when they were still in the Big East for
Oh, yeah,
tennis.
nice.
They had a sick facility.
Yeah. Oh,
Seemed
yeah.
dope.
The buildings there are insane.
Insane, because they're all just grandiose and
Yeah,
cathedral-esque.
you feel like a tiny person when you're on campus.
Interesting way to
you
say
feel
that,
like a miniature person.
Yeah. I can't remember what airport we flew into, but it was definitely a good drive from the...
You might have flown into Chicago. I don't know if you flew into Chicago or... South Bend is like kind of a small airport.
Yeah.
I would always I would drive usually with a buddy.
Maybe we did fly into Chicago and then how long was it? Hour and a half drive, something like that?
Yeah.
That was cool. And the sports program, do you go to a lot of football games when you were there?
Yeah. We had like a terrible program when I was there though. Now they're really good, but I was a Notre Dame fan growing up, football, and like that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to go there. A good reason to choose a school,
right?
You know?
Why were you a Notre Dame football fan?
Just because they were. I guess like a lot of people are like they're kind of like the biggest brand in college football, right? But they were like the one that was like only on national television every week back when like my dad was growing up, so he liked them, and so then I liked them. And then I just like got this idea that I wanted to go there. And it's a good school too, but no regrets. I loved it.
How were your high school sports in your
high school sports were good. It was like I played like basketball and baseball. It's the big men in our basketball league though were like 6 foot. Okay. It's like it's not it wasn't like Division I players. Yeah. So like I was like starting point guard. It was probably like Division III players at best.
Lemoyne College. You ever hear about that?
Yeah, of course.
Syracuse. But I guess that's pretty north of where you guys are.
I went to Lemoyne basketball camp when I was I was in 7th grade, and I was MVP of the camp.
Oh, wow. Dope. That's so niche. No one has any idea what we're talking about. But Lemoyne College, it's a Division II program.
Yeah.
And they beat Syracuse one time. I think it was like maybe a couple years after Carmelo Anthony was there, so it was a long time ago.
Yeah,
but this is
that.
this is like the story of the maybe century up there.
Yeah.
That's like when Appalachian State beat Michigan,
right?
Stuff like that. You'll have those insane upsets. It's so funny how people are so invested in college sports.
It's crazy how invested they are. I mean, I like it. I like the pageantry and like the pride. I like college football. I'm like I like Notre Dame college football. I like it a lot better than the NFL. But people are nuts. People are crazy. Like growing up, it would like ruin my day if Notre Dame lost. Now, like I want them to win, but I'll forget about it 10 minutes later. Yeah. I feel like that's a healthier way to do it.
Did you go to a lot of games when you were there?
Yeah.
Do you still travel back to Notre
Dame? Every once in a while, I'll like go back like maybe once a year, once every 2 years, like. Well, me and my friends will pick a game to go to, and it's just kind of like a reunion.
Yeah, I understand the college pride aspect of it, and I wonder what it really is that links people, because for the rest of their lives, people are so tied to college sports. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's...
Especially when you look outwards and you're like, why are these older men rooting for these 18 and 19-year-old boys?
Why are they wearing jerseys of like 20-year-old kids?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now it's much like now that you can pay the players essentially, donors are essentially like buying players to go to these schools.
Yeah, that's what happened with that Michigan recruit. Do you hear that? Like Dave Portnoy and Larry Ellison kind of brought them together.
So now it's like a power. Like now they're like really like invested. Where they're like, oh, I'm like throwing money at these programs.
And I wonder if that's going to really start to change college sports and the dynamic of it.
It definitely is. Yeah.
Because for so many years, I guess as long as college sports have been around, there's only really been a handful of programs that consistently win.
Yeah.
But now I wonder if it's even going to be less.
There's a little more parity now, I guess, in terms of like, well, Alabama's not dominating football every year because they can't just stack the second and the third strings, all NFL guys. Now, since everybody can kind of pay players, they go around a little more.
And then there's one recruit that Cooper
Flag.
He's insane.
Yeah,
they say that he's one of the best college basketball players ever.
Yeah. Freshman at Duke.
Yeah, so he's gonna go number 1 overall next year.
Yeah.
And then there was another guy who I guess is joining BYU next year. Did you hear about this guy?
I heard about this guy.
Which is an interesting move. And if you guys have never heard of BYU, it's a Mormon school.
Yeah.
So they're paying this guy. I think they're paying him like $7 million to go for a year.
He's not Mormon, right?
Yeah, I don't get it.
So I think he just went where the money was. I don't know the backstory of like why they paid him so much to go there.
Yeah.
But they might, Hey, listen, I think like as long as someone's willing to pay you, that's what you're worth.
I mean, they've been paying athletes under the table for so long, and now the athletes, it seems like they're getting what they really deserve.
Right. I think it was so broken for so long that now there's like an overcorrection.
Yeah.
I think the one thing they probably need to change is used to be when you transferred, you would have to sit out a year, but now you can just transfer immediately. So, like, that's why everybody's leaving. They're just chasing the money after. And, I would do it too. But you could be the starting quarterback of Oklahoma this year, and next year you're starting quarterback of Oregon. And that you don't have to sit out a year.
I don't know if have we seen that dramatic of a shift, though?
Yeah. So it's like a couple, like that exact example happened with the quarterback of Oregon this year. I can't remember his name. But the quarterback who was at USC, who was #1 pick, and he's the Bears quarterback now, that happened to him too. I think he might have been at Oklahoma and he went to USC. Yeah. Oklahoma's just getting they're getting sniped to their quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's interesting. I do think that there potentially should be a cap on how much you can make, maybe.
Yeah, they got to regulate it a little bit somehow, because now it's just like the Wild West a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I wonder, is it illegal or not allowed for a donor specifically to pay them on the side? I mean,
it's technically now there's like you put it into basically like a fund that they call it NIL fund, name, image, and likeness. And then they can distribute that kind of how they want. But like Portnoy basically could just be like, I'm going to pay $2 million for a quarterback.
Did you play those video games growing up and then like an insane, it was like 10 years that they didn't have NCAA football anymore.
Oh yeah. I had it like I would do like seasons
career mode.
I'd win the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for years they could, are they bringing it back? It is back with the names?
You know what? I think it is back now. And I think like the players' names are in it. And
yeah, that's great. You used to be able to play, it was basketball, football. I mean, those are the two sports. And then they would just have number 15 quarterback, and all these kids wouldn't be able to make money off their name.
Like they would look like the guys that were playing.
Yeah, it's messed
They'd have
up.
like this. Yeah, so they would, and they'd be like selling their jersey in the bookstore, and these kids were seeing nothing.
I wonder if Johnny Manziel was like the final straw.
It's one of them. Yeah, I mean, I'm like
to get paid.
Hopefully, he got paid on the side.
No, he was. He's talked about it before, but not enough.
Not enough.
Yeah,
because he like made Texas A&M,
hundreds of
millions.
Yeah.
Did you watch that Manziel doc?
I think so. There have been a couple, but which one are you referring to?
That was the one on Netflix where just like they were basically talking about like how he would party all day.
Yeah, I think so.
And
yes.
then just like, which was cool.
Yeah, they were saying don't smoke weed, and he was like,
yeah.
Of course,
and he was like, I would play better if I partied all night.
Yeah, exactly.
So some guys can do that.
He was hanging out with LeBron, Drake.
Yeah,
it was sad to see him not. I mean, but he was so. I feel he was good in the NFL. But what happened?
He said, well, he just didn't prepare at all. Yeah. Like, and he just kind of
didn't read the playbook.
Eventually, that stuff is going to catch up with you, where you can't just rely on raw talent. Where like, I think that's what happened. Like, I think in that doc, they're like, I didn't even look at the playbook. Like, I don't. So in college, you can kind of just play backyard football and rely on your talent, but NFL, I guess you got to know the plays.
This guy that I know just auditioned for a voiceover role for backyard baseball. You just mentioned backyard football. You remember that game on the computer, like backyard baseball?
Oh yeah,
backyard football.
Yeah.
I think they're doing like a live TV series. I don't know if you guys have
cool.
ever heard of that, but the PC games, those are so fun. I'd be in the front of the PC for hours playing Sims, trying to put in the cheat code, Rosebud, exclamation point.
Were you were growing characters on Sims, like
and then dude, I would just also do sick things in that game. Like I'd put somebody in the pool and then I'd remove the ladder so they couldn't get out of the pool.
Right, torturing them.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about like what if that was like a real person? Because that's just a literal simulation.
Yeah,
you could have been determining a real person's life in
really
another realm.
I really hope not. I really hope not.
Maybe someone's controlling our Sims.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying. That's why that'd just be terrible.
But they're a little nicer because we're not not getting left in the pool without a ladder.
Yeah, and then I saw some TikTok the other day. Some woman was talking about an episode of Joe Rogan where, like when we mess with ants, some other species could be messing with us with natural disasters, like just pouring a water bottle on and seeing what happens.
Yeah, where are you at on that? Do you think that we're in a simulation, or do you think we're not? What's the other way?
I think there has to be something controlling us.
I think we're too small to think that there's nothing else.
Yeah, there's got to be something else.
Yeah, I don't know if they're controlling.
And also, if you ever do psychedelics of some sort, you see weird things, or you just are aware of weird things.
You ever see?
I don't know if you've ever done it.
Whenever someone's like, "Oh, do you believe in aliens or whatever?" and like, you ever seen Men in Black, the original?
Yes, but not enough to quote it or remember.
So the end of the movie when they like, and I always think about this when they like zoom out from New York to the U.S. to the world to the galaxy to a million other galaxies, and then that everything is within inside a marble that an alien is playing with and throws it in another bag of marbles. So like that's just like, I always think about that in terms of how insignificant
absurd
we are.
And it's insane to think like on our day-to-day lives we think we're so important.
We think we're so important.
Insane.
And when really, we're not even anything. We're a grain of sand. Which is why it can be freeing to think that way, because then it's just like, all right, well.
But dude, a grain of sand is insane, though.
I know, but that's what we are.
That's too small.
It's incredibly small. But we're one planet inside one galaxy in billions of galaxies. It doesn't. We can't comprehend. We can't comprehend how insignificant we are. But that can be very freeing, where it's like, all right, well, it doesn't really matter. So why not try to do comedy?
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely, man. So I guess we'll get to comedy a little bit. So this is the second special you've released. You released one, Championships. That was a couple years ago.
Yeah, so that was a couple years ago. This one I think is really my first like really planned going into it. So the first one I was during I did the Caroline's Breakout show and I was headlining it, and the kind of last second I was like, all right, well, why don't we film it? I thought I was going to get a bunch of clips, and ended up being like a really good set. And so, it wasn't perfect in terms of like planning and, all the video and the audio quality, but, and there's a bunch of COVID material. Ended up putting that out, and that was like a fun project. So yeah, that was technically my first one. This one, I knew more going into it that it was going to be planned, but it's all new material. There's one joke that I kept from Championship Mode, but just because kind of like my favorite joke, and it related to some other stuff. Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
And then how has that process been since you released it? I know you released it like 4 days ago.
Yeah.
Into turning over new material. Do you feel like now that you've done all that and put it online that you have to switch it up?
I mean, like I'll phase it in. I always like the challenge of coming up with new material. I feel like that's what it's all about. But I'll phase it in. Yeah, I'll phase it in. I got some new stuff that I'm working on, and but I see comics all the time. There are no rules, right? No. You can do whatever jokes. I see comics do the jokes that they've had in specials. I see, on regular shows. I see, whatever. So
I think the one time, at least me personally, when I do feel like I need to mix it up is like, for example, last night there were two people that were at the 8 p.m. show, and then they decided that they want to stay for the 10 p.m. show.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going to do a new 10 minutes right here. Yeah, you got
to pick and choose your spots, right? So like that scenario, definitely, do new. If it's like a show where like it's a big audience and you want to do well or whatever, then, do your tried and true.
My dad has seen me do stand-up probably 50 times.
Yeah.
And there are some times where he says like, oh, I heard that one, that joke was better than the time before.
Yeah.
Or sometimes he'll say, it seems like you're doing new stuff every time I see you. You should be crafting and working on this specifically. So like, there's no real rules. There's no such thing as a comedy coach.
We get self-conscious. We're like, oh, my dad has seen this joke already, so I need to do all new.
Yeah.
But like, ultimately, you just want to do well. So
that's true.
So like, it's always going to be better for you if you do well, and then. Because most people haven't seen you, right? If you go on the road or like, even people don't remember either. They could watch, there's so much content out there now. This has probably happened to you. Like after the show, they're like, "Oh, I like you were funny. I like that one joke." And you're like, "Oh, which one?" And they're like,
"Oh, yeah." And then that's also happened with videos on Instagram or TikTok. Be like, "Oh, I saw you on Instagram, and TikTok." I'm like, "Oh, what video did you see?" Like, I have no idea.
They just know that they saw you and they liked it.
Which is good.
So.
In terms of putting it on YouTube, did you think about where you wanted to release before you shot it? And when did you shoot this special?
Yeah, so
and
shot it September 29th, 2024 at New York Comedy Club, Gramercy, the one around the corner from me.
Yeah.
Two shows. Pretty recent. Kind of tight turnaround on the editing. Chris Metcalf, unbelievable editor, producer, hire him. Worked with him on that. I knew it would probably be YouTube. The album is with Pinch Records. That's through New York, so they kind of handle the distribution of the audio on like Spotify and iTunes and hopefully Sirius if I get on there, Sirius XM. And then the video, I knew I'd probably put it on my YouTube, just like trying to grow that. It's gotten like some pretty good traction so far. I've been like happy with the feedback, and I'm really like, I'm sorry I keep hitting this, but I'm happy with the way it looks and sounds and overall the material. So I'm glad that it's out. It's all about selling tickets in this biz.
Yeah. And it does come at a place where you have to have an hour, like you have, and then also balance and manage the social media on the other end. You know, it's like having the whatever it is, million followers, and then also having the hour.
Can that translate to people coming out to see you? Too?
Yeah, it's only really been relevant the past 7 to 10 years, where it's like people, you need to have the presence on social media and then also the hour.
Yeah, exactly. Because I've seen people that are like, they can absolutely destroy an hour and put on an unbelievable show, but they might be a little older and they don't know how to navigate the social media scene, and so nobody knows who they are, but they'll put on a hell of a show for you if you go see them. You know? It's an interesting, but I get it from a business perspective too, where it's like, we got to sell tickets. So if this person has a following, you know, we'll see if they can sell tickets.
Yeah. And I think that also matters more so in the markets, like when you go to a smaller town where people are all going out on that Thursday, Friday, Saturday night specifically to see that person, you know, and whether they're going to sell 150 tickets or 300 tickets, and they could sell 300 tickets if that person has a bigger following or people have seen them on the internet. Yeah,
totally. I was able to build a lot of material because I did a lot of these brewery shows that were like in very small markets, but it's not even advertised that like I'm the comedian. It's just like comedy night.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Where it's like middle of nowhere, you know, Oxford, North Carolina. There's a brewery, comedy night, nothing going on in the town. So, you know, you show up and you're with one or two other guys or girls, comedians, and then you put on the show. But that's like almost like headlining when before you're kind of be ready to be headlining. But you just learn how to do longer sets.
Yeah, and I think that's been the trajectory for at least the people that I've talked to for a number of years, where you'll go to the place where the people don't know the comedian.
They don't know,
and then that comedian will bring their A game, and then people will know of that person just based on them seeing them.
Exactly.
And then maybe from that point they'll go follow them on the internet.
Yeah, so you try to do the, you know, like sell merch after or follow me on Instagram and just like try to build it at the grassroots level. Sort of, you know? As
great as it is to have in a presence and following on the internet and then start stand-up comedy, it's a lot more difficult, I think, to start with that big presence on the internet and then go into it rather than the other way around. Yeah. Even though it's more financially beneficial if that's the route that you have.
Like stand up, there's like no money in it until you're making a lot.
Yes.
Right.
So
but to me that was always the most fun. So like I've you know dabbled in other stuff, sketches and scripts and stuff, but I've always been focused on just trying to get as good at stand up as I possibly can. So like that's kind of been the driver, not as been financially successful, but like I feel like I've gotten better at stand-up just because I committed to that the most.
You and I think we had seen each other back and forth here and there, but I think the first time we like talked a little bit was at that basketball tournament.
Yeah, the big Walkowski.
Yeah. How did you end up doing in that tournament?
So I just signed up 1 year. Maybe the first time I did
charity basketball tournament.
It's charity basketball tournament run by Joel Walkowski. And it's all comics, for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
There's a couple
90% comics.
Yeah. Joel usually has a ringer or two on his team.
Yeah.
So the first time I did it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, probably 4 years ago. I just like signed up because I heard about it. And then I was on Joel's team actually, and Jeff Cerulli, and we like made the championship. And actually going into that tournament, you have to like rate yourself. And apparently I put highly skilled because I figured out, a lot of comedians, and I play a lot, and so they were like, oh, this guy put highly skilled, and they were kind of like making fun of me. So like I had to like show out in that tournament. Luckily, I played very well.
Yeah,
we made the championship, but we didn't win the championship. And so the next couple of years, I was like kind of out of town, or I had to miss. I wasn't in town for the tournament, so this was my first year back. And but nobody had really known. I think Joel picked me in like the third round. This year I didn't put highly skilled. I just put like the next one down, like good or whatever. And so we won the championship this time.
Well, basketball this time you won the championship this time.
Yeah.
Oh, dope. What happens when you guys win? Because we lost in like the second round, so I was out of there. You just
get a trophy and some social media clout, I guess.
There you go. Until next year.
It's all pride. It's for pride. It's for pride.
Basketball is an interesting sport because it's probably the most easily accessible sport that so many different people play it, and you never really know like who's a baller.
Yeah.
That's why in playing tennis, there's maybe a handful of people who played tennis at a higher level in comedy.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't really know, but it's like, do you know Michael Costa?
Yeah.
Hannah Burner, who I've played with a bunch of times. My buddy Giulio Gallerati, who we played at BU.
Oh, cool.
But those three, and then Shivani Dave, who maybe you know.
Yeah.
She played at Illinois. So those guys played Division I tennis.
Yeah.
But then besides those people, I don't really know anyone else.
My sister
who plays
played
tennis.
at Syracuse, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I visited Syracuse when my grandpa lived up there. I was just like going around, and I said if they ever had a tennis team there, a men's tennis team, I would have loved to go there.
Yeah.
But did she go there when Luke Jensen was the coach?
Yes, she did.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, she did.
Luke Jensen,
that was her coach.
That's insane. He won the French Open in 1994 doubles with his brother Murphy Jensen, and Luke Jensen serves lefty and serves righty.
Yeah, so I think maybe her senior year, that was the coach.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That's
she had it for 1 or 2 years. Yeah.
That's very cool.
But she played tennis like since growing up. Like that was like the sport that me and I have 2 older sisters.
Wow, that's impressive.
My dad would like be at the park with them hitting balls. Like
did you ever play?
I tried to play when I was little. Then like I was just like I kind of wanted to do something different than my sisters. So I went the basketball, baseball route.
Well, but that's interesting that he really stuck around for them to play that much, because that's a really good program for women.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she was like really good in high school, and like again like kind of like a small town sort of thing, but she kind of like dominated high school scene.
Yeah, that's usually how high school tennis goes. It's like that one person who's undefeated for 4 years will go to like a pretty solid Division I program.
That's what she was.
Yeah, or in tennis, you just won't play high school tennis. There was a guy that I knew who's basically my tennis coach for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And he would play tennis matches lefty and still beat kids like 6-0, 6-0.
Yeah.
He had a sprained wrist, and for a whole season he was just playing kids lefty and still winning.
I can hit a little bit because like since like I like especially like after college I would like play with my sister, but like I can't serve. I don't know how to serve.
Okay.
But I got pretty good ground strokes.
Okay.
Yeah. I would just have to be taught how to serve. Really.
Yeah. Serving is theoretically overrated unless you're playing the set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
so we
good to be
would
from the
just
ground.
play like, all right, hit it over the net and then we'll play points.
Nice. How often do you still go back home? If at all?
I get quite a decent amount. Like I go to, so my oldest sister still lives in Endicott. So every once in a while I'll go visit her, but my parents spend most of their time in Raleigh. So I go down there, a few times a year. Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
What's the weather like in Raleigh these days?
It's like maybe 40s, 50s, but the sun is always out, so it feels a little warmer than
And
New York.
do you see yourself being in New York the rest of your life or what?
I don't know. I love New York. I've been here a long time. Yeah, it's hard to envision living anywhere else, you know. But who knows?
I was down in Florida, in Miami for like 4 nights, just because that's where my dad is. And if they had a more active comedy scene, or I'm more established to a point where I can be down there more, I would definitely love to be down there.
There are other cities though that got some pretty good comedy scenes.
Definitely.
Raleigh has a pretty good scene.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, they got Good Nights, the comedy club, and then like just kind of like a good kind of indie scene, you know.
So going forward with the special, do you have like an idea of how you're gonna transfer the hour of material to social media, or is it just you're gonna do each joke and then release it day by day, or what?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. Early on, I'm kind of like putting out a clip a day on YouTube to try to drive like the YouTube traffic. Instagram, I guess I'll spread out a little bit more. But yeah, I got a bunch of clips they're not all done, but I got the file and I can go in and kind of do it on CapCut. I don't really know, you know, I'm sure some people will get, you know, exhausted with the same sort of background and everything, clip after clip. So, but you just got to try to put it out. You never know what could catch fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know Chris Brown?
Of course.
Yeah,
Love Chris Brown.
Yeah, he's the best. He was on the podcast last episode.
Yeah,
and he released his special probably like I think like 5 or 6 months ago. But he's putting his clips online, and it seems like it's starting to catch fire. And
he's so funny.
Yeah, and sometimes I do hear what you're saying with like the same background and people losing interest, and you really have to get people's attention in like the first half of a second.
Totally.
And then keep them along for the however long the video is.
That's the other thing. Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, I guess you kind of learn maybe captions and thumbnails that might get people in. Sometimes some of my jokes though are like there's a little bit of a build up before I kind of release.
Well, which there should be.
Yeah, which I release a lot, you know, like so I got to get people to watch that build up, you know. But I don't know, like you can't control some of these things, you know. You just got to put it out there and see what happens.
Do you have a lot of vegan material or what?
There's a vegan joke or two in there. I used to have on Championship Mode, I had a pretty good vegan joke where it's like I could give you a lot of reasons why I became a vegan, then I could just tell you what her name is.
Sure.
But that was not really even true because I was kind of the one that decided, but it's comedic license.
Yeah. People have suggested to me to do like vegan cooking videos.
Yeah.
But I'm a terrible cook, man.
Yeah. I'm not a good cook either. What are your spots? Your go-to vegan spots? You go to any?
Not really.
Not really.
I'm not really a foodie at all.
You're not a foodie at all.
If I do Uber Eats sometimes, maybe I'll have those options and I'll look at what's around me.
Yeah.
But besides that, I don't really have like a go-to place. I need a girlfriend who's vegan. That's really what I need. Key.
Now, do you find dating to be tough with the vegan thing?
Not really, because I don't really mind if people are eating chicken.
Yeah, I don't either.
And the people that I do date, I mean, I haven't really experienced them like craving a steak. Maybe like a burger's different.
But when they are like, when you get food with them or whatever, they're like, and they ask you about your diet. Is there ever any like, oh, that's interesting?
Sometimes. I think people do the prerequisite, like people know that I'm vegan. Yeah. Maybe if like you look at some of the on my online persona, is that I'm vegan. But I think also now
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter as much, and it's also a lot more accepting, and it's a lot easier to go to a place that doesn't have vegan options and has vegan options. But my favorite food is probably Mediterranean. Yeah. I love hummus, the pita, chickpea types.
That's the thing. Like I think it's definitely gotten a lot more accepted, even since we first started being vegan, and now every place has an option, and I'm not like has to be a vegan place either. I'll find something on the menu.
Yeah, and if there's not a vegan option, I'll just eat later. I'm not really that picky about it.
And I don't like. I do you like? I don't care if you eat meat in front of me, whatever. do what you want.
Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen with the cheese aspect, because I think that's one of the last things that, I don't know about you, but anytime I'll tell people that I'm vegan, they'll be like, oh, I can never live without cheese. That's really the main thing that people say.
Some of the vegan cheeses are gross. Some
Yeah.
of the nut-based cheeses are the ones that I like better. Like a cashew.
Sure.
Or whatever. But some of them are... I eat vegan pizza quite a bit, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a go-to vegan pizza place?
Yeah. So there's a few of them, but I like the one in the West Village. It's called Artistic Pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one.
A few times. The one across the street from the cellar.
Yeah, the one in Williamsburg, Vinny's, is good. Used to be Screamers, and I don't know if you've ever been there. That was great, but that closed down.
Yeah, I haven't been to Artistic Pizza in a while. I got to go back.
Yeah, that one's good, and Vinny's is good. Those are probably like my two go-tos.
It's annoying though that, well, I mean, it's been around for so long, just cheese from cows, but it's annoying that vegan pizza and vegan cheese is a lot more expensive than
it is
regular.
More expensive.
You know, it's like they have the sandwich board sign outside. It's like 2 pizzas and a Coke for $5, 2 slices and Coke for $5, and then the vegan slice itself is $5. You know?
Yeah, it's a little too pricey. Yeah, but I guess do you find it like, because if you're just doing kind of Mediterranean rice and beans, that's probably not. I guess if you're eating the vegan meats a lot, which again I don't really do a ton of that, then it's probably more pricey than not.
Yeah.
But whatever. Yeah.
But also,
I'm not like a huge foodie either. Like
no,
I just kind of like to get the nutrients and move on.
Yeah, and then I'll usually just eat later in the day, so I never really focus on the vegan breakfast foods.
Yeah.
Not really lunch. Like I'll just have fruit and nuts and then whatever is around for dinner, you know?
Yeah, no. So you're cash about it.
How about your family? Are they pretty accepting of you being vegan?
At first they were like, what the hell is this? This girl's having an influence on you. Yeah. What are you doing with your life?
Sure.
Now it's like, they know it's like second nature to them now. So luckily my oldest sister was like vegetarian since starting at like 14 or 15. She saw some sort of doc and
it's the documentaries, man.
Yeah,
we got to get more people
so
watching
she
the
was
documentaries.
vegetarian for a long time, so at least I had that sort of like someone did it in my family, did a change, and then now it's like my mom's like really into making all the vegan stuff when I come around.
And it's wild to think that if more people watched those documentaries or needed to watch how it was made before they ate it, like so many people just wouldn't eat meat anymore.
Yeah.
Or it's like maybe somebody will watch a documentary, they'll turn it off halfway and be like, oh, I can't watch that. And then the next meal is meat.
I know.
I'm not shaming people, but I'm just
No. I just, it's not appetizing to me. After I've seen some of the things, like the factory farming thing and stuff. Then again, like I don't do what you want.
Right.
I just can't do it.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I'll smell buffalo wings and I'll be like, yo, those smell really good.
Yeah,
but then,
sure.
But then I'm like, all right, I'll eat it, but you guys can't tell anyone. No, I'm joking. Obviously, I'll say that, but I won't eat it.
I did have one vegan joke one time. This is true. I was in North Carolina and we ordered food from this place called Fiction Kitchen, which now you would think everything on the menu is vegan. But they had one section that was not. It was like almost like a reverse of a regular restaurant. And I ordered a chicken sandwich, which I thought was a vegan chicken sandwich. And I was at my sister's and I was eating it and I was like, what things they're doing with vegan chicken now, like it's on, you wouldn't have any idea. Why is everyone, not eating being vegan? And then it was actual chicken. Damn. So that was like the only meat I've eaten in the past 7 years, but it was by accident.
And to be honest, I have eaten enough takeout and ordered food over the past 5 or 6 years that I imagine there has to have been times when it was by accidentally or like there was vegan cream on something, and
but again, like that stuff
that doesn't count.
Yeah,
and there was I'll bleep this, but at the was a guy saw that there was a Heineken Zero on the menu, and the waiter was, and he was like, "Can I get a Heineken Zero?" And the waiter was like, "Yeah, sure." He brings out a Heineken, gives him. The guy has the whole Heineken. He was like, "Damn, this thing is great." He was like looking at the label to see if there was a zero, and then he's like, "I'll have another one of these." Then he orders another one, and then the waiter brings an actual Heineken Zero, and the guy sees on the label that it said Heineken Zero, and the guy was sober for like 5 years.
Oh my gosh!
And he had a Heineken,
and now he's relapsed, and he's, and he's at the bottom of a ditch.
Now he's relapsed. Yeah. But But if you're an alcoholic and you break your sobriety by accident, it doesn't count.
All right. What about? So you said you don't drink a ton.
No.
Right. Do you do the Heineken Zeros and athletics?
No.
Nothing.
Nah.
You just don't even do it.
No. Would you do Heineken Zero?
I've done it before. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't really care because I never really. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, do you know Luca Farrow?
Yeah.
Show? Yeah, he drinks those Heineken Zeros all the time.
I think it just takes away like the social stigma of like if you feel like you're at a bar, and
right?
Like, I gotta hold something. People might not even know.
And also, like if a lot of people are around me drinking, like it's definitely gonna influence me to drink.
Yeah.
And the last time I drank was probably over 3 months ago, like my buddy's wedding.
Yeah.
But if a lot of people around me are drinking, I'll definitely have a drink or two for sure.
That's kind of the speed.
But it has to be a lot of people around. Like if just 2 or 3 people are having a drink around me, I maybe won't. But I think the overwhelming peer pressure of everyone having a drink is like, I'll drink.
Do you do like drinks for a date or no?
I don't know anymore.
You don't know?
I would like to just do coffee.
So would I. Yeah.
But I don't think I can. I don't think I should.
Tough.
I don't think I should.
It's tough.
It is tough. The date, it's just it loosens everybody up
It loosens it up.
You know, like I said, I have a 6-pack of White Claw that's been in my fridge for no joke, at least 6 months.
Yeah,
that I haven't opened.
Plus, it's like, for us, if we go out there, we're like, all right, we're vegan, we don't drink, and we're comedians. That's like the triple
and we
crown.
Don't smoke, yeah. It's like, all right, what do you do? It's like, and we take cold showers, bro, we're all lax.
We're screwed.
Yeah.
We gotta have something.
Some vice. Yeah.
Yeah.
But and I think the younger generation is leaning or not drinking as much, and it's becoming more socially acceptable not to drink. People are becoming healthier, and then also with all these podcasts and health and wellness and things, people wanting to be more healthy. Yeah. People are drinking less for sure.
Yeah, I think the Gen Z kids are like, dude, I'm out on drinking.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll be more accepted.
We're more accepted. Yeah. We're staying young.
Yeah.
Hope
so. Do you know that guy Brian Johnson? You follow that guy?
Brian.
The guy.
I did watch that.
You watched it on Netflix? Yeah, it was good. This guy who's reversing his aging, or not maybe. I don't want to say reversing, but he's aging at 0.70.
Yeah, he's just not aging fat. You're not aging fast.
So instead of aging 1 year every year, he's aging like 70% of a year every year.
That was an interesting. The part that got creepy was when he was exchanging like blood with his
but
son.
I think he was just trying that. I don't think he's like doing that consistently. I think he just tried it once or twice.
Yeah.
And I do feel like he's definitely got to be doing a good amount of things that we will look back on in a number of years and be like, oh, that guy had it correct. Like that's even what he says. But there's some things that he's doing that are just way too intense.
Obviously, he also knows like, he's got access to all sorts of different therapies and treatments and stuff.
Taking like 50 pills a day.
But he's just like, he's pushing the boundaries of what's possible, and then he's vegan. So that's good for us.
Yeah, that's true. And his argument is that when people say like, dude, like you don't have any vices or you're not having fun in life. And then he's saying that him living longer is the fun part, or I don't really remember what his response was.
But also I think at the end of that, he was just like, it's a little bit isolating too. So he started more of like a community thing where like he goes on hikes and runs with people. Yeah. So he's like, I think he realizes that you can't just be in the lab all day working on your body if you're not gonna enjoy life.
Yeah, and going to sleep at 8 p.m. for at least us is impossible.
No, it's impossible. So you gotta do what you can.
Yeah,
you gotta do what you can.
Yeah, I respect the sleeping aspect. I'm big on sleeping. Yeah, and it's a matter of making the day after you sleep more productive if you're able to sleep more. I like so
overall,
that part.
You're a pretty healthy guy.
I think so. Yeah,
I
think so. I tend to buy into most of these health, health and wellness things that people are saying.
Yeah,
and then there was a period of time over COVID where I got insanely shredded, and that was one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Yeah.
And I would like to think that I'm always like anywhere between like 2 and 3 weeks out of the best shape I can be in of my life.
Right.
Which I think is a good place to be, but sometimes it's, it's uncomfortable. But I think for the most part, people should be around the 2 month mark where they can be in the best shape of their life if they just change a few things.
Yeah, I feel like I just don't want to. I don't want to lose it. I want to always make, because like once if you get out of shape,
bro, it's so hard to get
back. I don't
back.
even know how you get in,
in shape. I think the tipping point is probably, for me, I got to a point where I was 25 pounds overweight, which was probably right around the 2017, 2018 mark, where I played college tennis, and then after that I continued the gym, and then I just slowly started losing it a little bit, where I was drinking too much, I was doing too many drugs, eating McDonald's all the time, and then like eating trail mix at night, like a full bag. And once you get to that 25 pounds marker where you feel like you're 25 pounds overweight, it can easily get to 40 pounds to 50 pounds, and then if it keeps going like that, it's very difficult to get it back.
So you were able to, probably because you were training so hard for tennis, and you kind of needed to you needed to let go a little bit.
But and I do think that like if you know that something's going to take 2 to 3 months for you to get back in not even the best shape of your life into reasonable shape, it's difficult. Because like after a week, you don't see any any benefit, and like for a week you've been hungry, you've been working out hard, and maybe you haven't been sleeping that well. But staying in as good of shape as you can, I think is super valuable, and just being a little, at least from my experience, is being like a little bit uncomfortable every day with things that you do. I think it's beneficial.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I kind of had, Matthew McConaughey's law of break a sweat every day. I kind of follow that.
No, what is that?
I think he was on like,
as it sounds,
he was like on, I think he might have been interviewed by Oprah back in the day. It was just like a clip that I saw like online after the fact. But she's like, you look great. You're, however old, but you look amazing. He goes, break a sweat every day. That's my rule. So I try to do that. But I think that to me, it just makes me feel better mentally, physically. And even if it's like 20, I'll work out hard for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Mike Metzger.
Yeah, exactly. And so just get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Then steam and, cold plunge, and I'm a new man.
Love it. Mike, dude. Thank you so much for coming on the pod. Before we get out of here, shout out your special. Let us know where we can find it. And this will be up this Thursday. So if you have anything coming up this weekend or stuff in early March, please shout it down the tube. Let us know.
The special is called White Mike and the Fly, and it's on YouTube. You can find it on my YouTube channel, Mike Bramante. That would be, go watch that. If you like it, please share it. And if you don't like it, maybe share it, because maybe someone will.
Comment on it so you don't like
it, right? Get the algorithm pumping somehow. I don't care.
Love it. Mike, dude, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. Let's pose for the thumbnail really quick. Excellent. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in to Ted Jones World. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.